Hello friends, have you ever wondered what if the biggest reason you're losing money has nothing to do with your strategy, your indicators, or even the market itself? What if every trade you take is being quietly controlled by a mind that reacts before you even realize it? Most traders spend years searching for the perfect system, convinced that one more indicator, one more setup, or one more secret will finally change everything. But the uncomfortable truth is this: the market is rarely your greatest opponent. The person making every decision behind the screen is. Every impulsive entry, every fearful exit, every revenge trade, and every moment of hesitation begins long before you click the buy or sell button. It begins with the story your mind tells you, and until that story changes, your results never truly will. This video isn't about finding a magical strategy. It's about transforming the one thing that follows you into every single trade: your thinking. You'll discover why the invisible battle inside your mind quietly shapes every decision you make, how emotions disguise themselves as logic and steal your consistency, and what it really takes to develop the calm, disciplined mindset that allows great traders to make better decisions under pressure. Each chapter builds naturally on the one before it, taking you from recognizing the hidden mental patterns that sabotage your performance to replacing them with a completely different way of thinking, until everything comes together in one final breakthrough that changes how you see risk, confidence, and every opportunity the market presents. Because when your mind changes, your decisions change. When your decisions change, your habits change. And when your habits change, your results begin to tell a completely different story. If you're ready to stop fighting the market and start understanding the person behind every trade, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel, because we're building a library of psychology-driven trading lessons designed to help serious traders think differently, perform better, and grow with confidence. And whatever you do, stay with me until the very last chapter, because the final lesson is the quiet difference between traders who chase profits for years and those who consistently create them. Once you truly understand it, you'll never look at another trade the same way again. Chapter 1. The Invisible Enemy Inside Every Trade. Imagine two traders sitting side by side. They have the same chart, the same strategy, the same amount of capital, and they enter the exact same trade. A few hours later, one walks away with a calm, well-executed decision, while the other is frustrated, emotionally exhausted, and questioning everything. The market didn't treat them differently. Their minds did. This is where most people begin looking in the wrong direction. When a trade fails, it's easy to blame the market. Maybe the trend changed. Maybe the news moved the price. Maybe the setup wasn't perfect. Those explanations feel comforting because they place the problem somewhere outside of us. But the real battle rarely begins on the chart. It begins in the silent conversation happening inside your own mind. Think about the last trade you regretted. Was it really your strategy that failed? Or was it the moment you moved your stop-loss because you couldn't accept being wrong? Was it the fear that convinced you to close a winning position too early? Was it the excitement that whispered, "This one is different," and pushed you to risk more than you normally would? The market didn't create those emotions, it simply revealed them. The market is like a mirror. It reflects everything you already carry inside yourself. Fear becomes hesitation. Greed becomes impatience. Hope becomes denial. Confidence becomes discipline or overconfidence, depending on whether it is built on preparation or emotion. This is why trading feels so personal. Every trade is more than a financial decision. It's a psychological test. It quietly asks the same question over and over again. Can you stay committed to your plan when your emotions beg you to abandon it? Most people can't. Not because they lack intelligence, not because they don't work hard, but because the human brain was never designed to feel comfortable with uncertainty. It wants certainty. It wants immediate rewards. It wants to avoid pain at any cost. And the market offers none of those things. Instead, it rewards patience while your emotions demand action. It rewards discipline while your ego wants to prove itself right. It rewards consistency while your instincts chase excitement. That creates a conflict inside every trader. One part of you wants long-term success. The other part wants immediate emotional relief. Every impulsive trade, every missed opportunity, and every unnecessary loss is simply the result of choosing short-term comfort over long-term consistency. Here's the surprising part. The traders who seem fearless aren't fearless at all. They still experience doubt. They still feel uncertainty. The difference is that they no longer allow those feelings to become their decisions. They understand that emotions are temporary, but the consequences of emotional decisions can last for months. This realization changes everything, because once you stop seeing the market as your enemy, you begin to notice the real opponent you've been carrying with you all along, and that awareness is where lasting transformation begins. But recognizing the enemy is only the first step. The deeper question is this: why does your own mind keep pulling you toward decisions you already know are wrong? The answer lies in a hidden psychological trap that almost every trader falls into without ever realizing it. Chapter 2. Why fear and hope keep you trapped. Picture this. You finally find a trade that perfectly matches your plan. Every rule you've created says it's time to enter, but instead of acting, you hesitate. You stare at the screen, waiting for one more confirmation. A few minutes later, the market moves exactly as you expected, without you. Instantly, regret takes over. You jump into the trade late, driven not by discipline but by the fear of missing out. Moments later, the market pulls back and panic replaces confidence. What began as a good opportunity turns into another painful lesson. Notice what happened. The market never changed, your emotions did. Most traders believe fear only appears after they lose money. In reality, fear shows up long before that. It whispers questions that sound logical. What if this trade fails? What if this is the wrong setup? What if I lose again? It disguises itself as caution, but underneath it is simply the desire to avoid emotional discomfort. Then comes hope. Hope feels positive, but in trading, it often becomes one of the most expensive emotions you can carry. Hope convinces you that a losing trade will magically come back. It tells you to ignore your stop-loss because the market will turn around. It encourages you to hold on to bad decisions far longer than your trading plan ever intended. Fear keeps you from entering good trades. Hope keeps you trapped in bad ones. Together, they quietly destroy consistency. Here's something most people never realize. Neither fear nor hope is the real problem. They are only symptoms. The real problem is attaching your self-worth to the outcome of a single trade. When every win feels like proof that you're smart, and every loss feels like proof that you're failing, trading stops being a process and becomes a personal battle with your own identity. That is why emotions become so intense. You're no longer protecting your capital, you're protecting your ego. Professional traders think differently. They don't expect certainty because they know certainty doesn't exist. They understand that even the best setup can lose, and even a poor setup can win. Their confidence doesn't come from predicting what the market will do next. It comes from trusting themselves to follow their process regardless of the outcome. That shift changes everything. Instead of asking, "Will this trade make money?" they begin asking, "Did I execute my plan correctly?" One question creates anxiety, the other creates discipline. Over time, that single change rewires the way decisions are made. The need to be right slowly disappears, replaced by something far more valuable, the ability to stay consistent when emotions are at their loudest. And once you stop chasing certainty, another challenge appears. Even if fear no longer controls you and hope no longer traps you, there is still one deeply rooted habit that quietly influences every decision you make. Breaking that habit is where real freedom begins. Chapter 3. The mental shift that changes every decision. Imagine standing at the edge of a calm lake. The surface is so still that it reflects everything perfectly. Now throw a single stone into the water. Instantly, the reflection becomes distorted. The trees haven't changed, the sky hasn't changed, only the water has. Your mind works the same way. When your emotions are calm, you see the market for what it is. You recognize opportunities, accept risks, and follow your plan with clarity. But the moment fear, excitement, frustration, or overconfidence disturbs your thinking, your perception changes. Suddenly, normal price movements feel dangerous. Small pullbacks seem like disasters. Winning trades convince you that you can't lose, while losing trades make you believe you'll never win again. The market hasn't changed, your perception has. This is why the greatest transformation in trading doesn't come from learning more strategies. It comes from learning how to think differently about uncertainty. Most people approach every trade with one hidden expectation. They want certainty. They want to know before entering whether the trade will be a winner or a loser. But the market never makes that promise. Every trade is simply a probability, never a guarantee. The moment you truly accept that fact, something remarkable happens. You stop trying to predict every move. You start preparing for every outcome. That single shift removes an enormous amount of emotional pressure. A losing trade is no longer evidence that you're a bad trader. It's simply one result in a long series of probabilities. A winning trade is no longer proof that you're a genius. It's simply another outcome that followed your process. This mindset creates emotional stability. Instead of celebrating every win and suffering through every loss, you begin measuring success by something much more meaningful, your consistency. Ask yourself this question after every trade: did I follow my rules? If the answer is yes, you've succeeded, even if the trade lost money. If the answer is no, you've failed, even if the trade made money. At first, this way of thinking feels uncomfortable because it challenges everything your brain naturally wants. Your mind craves immediate rewards, but lasting success is built on repeated discipline, not temporary victories. Professional traders understand this deeply. They don't chase perfect trades, they build perfect habits. Because habits don't depend on market conditions, they depend on personal discipline. And discipline has a quiet power. It allows you to stay patient when everyone else is rushing. It allows you to stay objective when everyone else is reacting. It allows you to protect your capital while others are protecting their pride. Eventually, those small disciplined decisions begin stacking on top of one another until they create something far greater than a single profitable trade. They create trust, not in the market, but in yourself. And when you reach that point, one final breakthrough remains. It's the lesson that separates people who occasionally trade well from those who can perform with confidence, consistency, and emotional freedom year after year. Chapter 4. Trading like the market owes you. Think about the strongest tree in a forest. It doesn't become strong because every day is calm. It becomes strong because it survives countless storms without expecting the wind to stop blowing. Trading works the same way. The moment you expect the market to reward you simply because you studied hard, found a perfect setup, or followed your rules, you've already created a dangerous expectation. And expectations are where emotional trading begins. Many traders secretly believe the market owes them something. I've had 3 losing trades. I deserve a winner. I spent hours analyzing this chart. It has to work. I've been disciplined all week. This trade can't fail. The market doesn't recognize effort, it doesn't reward hope, it doesn't punish fear, it simply moves. And that is one of the hardest truths to accept. But it is also one of the most liberating. The day you stop expecting the market to behave the way you want is the day you stop taking its movements personally. A losing trade no longer feels like an attack. A winning trade no longer feels like proof that you're special. Both become nothing more than information. Information you can learn from, information you can use, information that helps you improve the next decision. This is the mindset that quietly separates consistent traders from everyone else. They don't wake up asking, how much money will I make today? They ask, can I execute my process with discipline today? That sounds like a small difference. It isn't. One question depends on the market. The other depends on you. And the only thing you can truly control is yourself. Imagine finishing an entire trading day. You followed every rule. You respected your risk. You accepted every outcome without changing your plan. At the end of the day, you lost money. Most people would call that a bad day. But was it? If you made every decision correctly, then you strengthened the habits that create long-term success. The financial result was temporary. The psychological progress was permanent. Now imagine the opposite. You ignored your rules. You doubled your position out of frustration. You refused to accept a small loss. By pure luck, the market turned around and rewarded you. Your account grew, but your discipline became weaker. That wasn't a successful day, it was a dangerous one, because the market rewarded bad behavior, and when bad habits are rewarded, they become even harder to break. This is why professional traders protect their mindset more carefully than they protect their profits. They understand that money comes and goes. Character stays. Every disciplined decision becomes another brick in the foundation of a trader who can survive uncertainty without losing emotional control. That is the real goal. Not predicting every move, not winning every trade, but becoming the kind of person who can make clear decisions regardless of what the market does next. When you reach that point, something unexpected happens. You stop chasing the market. You stop trying to force opportunities. You stop measuring yourself by today's profit or loss. Instead, you become patient. You become objective. You become consistent. Ironically, that's often when better results begin to appear, not because you finally learned how to control the market, but because you finally learned how to control yourself. Remember this whenever you sit in front of a chart. The market is not testing your intelligence, it is testing your discipline. It is not asking whether you can predict the future. It is asking whether you can stay committed to your principles when uncertainty is unavoidable. Because in the end, profitable trading is never just about reading charts. It is about reading yourself. The greatest edge you'll ever have isn't hidden inside an indicator, a strategy, or a secret formula. It's hidden in the quiet moments when your emotions demand one decision and your discipline calmly chooses another. That is the trader who lasts. That is the trader who grows. And that is the trader the market can never defeat.